Check. 1 2 1 2. The microphone's officially working this time around. Okay, fantastic. Roy White here at RW3 on Twitter. Thank you for coming back to this video if you tried to see the first one. Unfortunately, I did about 10 minutes on the most recent situation involving the Dallas Cowboys, and that is the news that Jamal Adams has officially requested a trade from the New York Jets. Put about 10 minutes of thoughts out into a YouTube video earlier. Unfortunately, I had my microphone plugged into the wrong port on my computer, and as a result, it didn't record a single second of it. So we're going to do all that again and try to give you all the same information, great insight that I shared with you in the last video, and hopefully you'll be able to get through this one and take in the information that I'm sharing with you to share with your friends and hopefully feel a little bit smarter about the entire. So here's the news today. New York Jets beat reporter of ESPN, Rich Cimini, not exactly sure how to say it, reported earlier today that Jamal Adams officially requested a trade to the New York Jets. Now, this is different from what's taken place over the offseason far, where it's been very much alluded to by the New York Jets, at least that from Jamal Adams' standpoint, he wanted to be made available. Jets, on the other side, and their GM, Joe Douglas, have tried to play the leverage game that Jamal Adams is. And you can understand why. They still have him under contract through this season. You would assume they would pick up his fifth-year option as a part of his rookie deal. So they would have the deal through next season. They already have, as a matter of fact. And then they would still have franchise tags to tag him with beyond that. So you can see why they're steadfast in not wanting to pay him a salary that breaks the bank at the safety position when they've already kind of got him under contract at least for the next years. So, as a result, Jamal Adams has done everything he can to kind of push his way out. But if you want to understand how this has gotten to this point, you need to go back to kind of where it started. And most Cowboys fans probably know where it started. It was last year's trade deadline. Right around October 29th, trade deadline. 15 minutes after that took place, I want to share with you a couple of tweets from David Moore of the Dallas Morning News, Cowboys beat reporter, who had some sourcing information about the trade and the particulars of the deal, and why I think now the Cowboys have a perfect opportunity to finally pounce on the Jamal Adams potential of making a deal. Here's what David Moore wrote back on October 29th, all right? 15 minutes after the trade deadline. Sources say that the Cowboys offered a first-round pick to acquire Jamal Adams from the Jets, but wasn't enough. Negotiations went down to the final second. Obviously, we knew already a first-round pick was not what the Jets were looking for. The source adds, according to David Moore, that Cowboys were willing to put together the sort of package Pittsburgh did to acquire Minkah Fitzpatrick. They gave up a first-rounder, and they swapped third-day picks. It was a fourth-round pick that they gave up. They wound up getting a seventh-round pick back. So basically a first and a fourth for Fitzpatrick. The Jets, on the other hand, according to David Moore, wanted more of a Jalen Ramsey type of package that the Rams gave up to acquire him from the Jaguars. That was, of course, two first-round picks and a fourth. David goes on to say specifically that at the time, he can confirm that the Jets sought a pair of second-round picks in addition to a first. Another report that NFL Network corroborated. So the Jets wanted a first, 2 seconds. The Cowboys, meanwhile, David says, were willing to part with a first and either a fourth or a fifth-round pick to acquire Jamal Adams. Cowboys offering a first, potentially a first and fourth. The Jets only wanting a first and 2 seconds. This was back at the trade deadline of last year. Fast forward to this offseason, and the Jets are basically floating it out there that Adams could be had for a first and a third-round pick. Even after that information had leaked out to the press and out to the public, still no movement. Still no other team has stepped up to make an offer and give the Jets exactly what they're looking for. Now, you would think if a first and a third-rounder was enough to get the deal done, and there was a team willing to give it, it would already be done. But the problem is, as most every team knows, in trying to negotiate a deal with the New York Jets and acquiring Jamal Adams, you're going to have to pay him. The question is, will you have to pay him before this season begins? Or will you potentially be able to pay him into 2021? And that's where the next tweet from Calvin Watkins earlier today is worth noting. Calvin Watkins, Dallas Cowboys beat reporter for the Dallas Morning. Also, Calvin writes, sources tell him that there are certain teams that Jamal Adams would be willing to play for without a long-term deal in 2020, and he would push it back to negotiate a potential long-term deal next season in 2021. Now, you would assume the Cowboys would be on that list, and in fact, Adam Schefter gave all 7 teams that Adams would approve a trade to, according to several sources. Those teams include, as we mentioned, Dallas Cowboys, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, the Houston Texans, the San Francisco 49ers, the Seattle Seahawks, Philadelphia Eagles. Now, again, 7 teams, all legitimate playoff contenders. For the most part, though, does it sound like any team has been willing to give up a first and a third, knowing they would also have to pay Jamal Adams on the back end? It does not. So, where does that leave the Cowboys, and where does that leave their situation? A season ago at the trade deadline, they were willing to go as high as a. Now, as we sit today, it seems no one around the league is willing to give up a first and a third for Jamal Adams. Knowing again they have to pay him into the future. But the Cowboys were willing to give up just under that, first and a fourth, a season ago. They're getting less service time now than they would have if they'd have made the deal for him then. It just seems like at this point in time, pieces have almost moved together perfectly for the Cowboys to make the deal, and all they need to do is reach out and grab him. Grab the All-Pro, grab the safety that's by your defense for potentially the next half decade, and grab the guy who desperately, in his soul, in his heart, wants to be a Dallas Cowboy and represent his hometown city, Dallas. So there you go. I think the Cowboys have a really unique and brilliant opportunity here. The stars have aligned perfectly to where I think a first and a fourth round pick could potentially get it done. And the reason that's so perfect for the Cowboys, in addition to being the type of deal that they were willing to do last year at the trade deadline, they get a fourth round compensatory pick in 2020 as a result of the free agent losses they had this offseason. But if they do wind up making a deal for a first and a fourth, still have their fourth round pick in a compensatory fashion, still have a pick in that round to deal with. Essentially mean they will have acquired Jamal Adams, the original first round pick they desperately trade for him last season. There it is. That's where things stand with Jamal Adams. Thank you so much for making it through the video. If you'd like to hear more of my stuff, you can hear me on my podcast with Ari Temkin every Thursday underneath the Blogging the Boys platform. You can download that under the Blogging the Boys platform. Our podcast, of course, called Broadcasting the Boys. Very original, I know. And we won't have any audio issues. Ari's in charge of that stuff, and he keeps it sounding good. Thank you guys for coming back to check out this video. Hopefully we'll have more for you in the future. I promise this one worked this time. Let's go. Go get Jamal Adams.